Yeah, we were there yesterday. I have a sense of that. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, I have some other questions.
Okay.
It's a shared driveway between the three of you guys? And
You know, I'm not clear on that, and I think that that's something that we would very much need to have clarified. I own the triangle that comes up from the road.
Right.
And, but I'm not sure, from what I read in Ulster County documents, when something has had a use, has always been used for something, that it stays used for that.
The state law.
Okay.
It's in the deeds.
Yeah, I know that they have, I know that they have an easement to use the area coming up, but I'm not sure about the driveway, how that driveway is divided up.
So, Mrs. Bell, you're saying there's an easement in your deed that...
Of all existing roads at that time. And you can look on our survey map that you have there and see that there's, at the part of Shauna's property next to ours is an existing road.
Right.
And then the one that comes in, there's two entrances, are existing roads. There's one that actually goes back on our property, as far as I have no, I never have no need to.
And then, Shauna, what about the water issues? You have your own well?
I do. I think Darren speaks to that. Yes. Okay.
You guys good?
Are you done? Yeah, Darren's okay.
Okay, so, in revisiting the request for the variance, the number one issue that I wanted to talk about was the well. I remember when we were buying our house, it was just a few months after the Bells bought their house, and our lawyer was very concerned about the shared well agreement. The well is on our property. The church has rights to the well. And this created a real problem in buying a house. The church, the Wesleyan church, offered to drill a well on the Bells property for them. But the stipulation was that once they drilled, they would lose their rights to our well. So if they ran into clay or sulfur or another problem, they would have to deal with that problem. And so they decided that they didn't want to take that risk, and they stuck with the rights to our well, if that makes sense. They didn't want to take that deal because they didn't want to take the risk. Understood. But it leaves us with this problem of doing the renovation and having 3 bathrooms, and we're just really worried about our water supply. You know, every summer when it gets dry, the smell of sulfur is there, and we're always watching the level of the water. And so it's just a concern in terms of how much water is there for how many people are going to be there. So that's the first thing that comes up for Dave and I when we look at an addition and adding more spaces. What is this going to mean about the water? We're also worried about the resale of the property with the well agreement, because we've been told that this would be a serious detriment to both property values and saleability. So it's just something that's on our minds. The garbage, you know, we get it. We're all trying to deal with keeping everything together, and we're not looking for any kind of perfection. But let me say, 18 months ago, we had a serious medical issue in our house. The Bells were starting to do some renovation. I wrote them a letter and said, you know, look, we're worried. There's a smell of mold. We could smell it in the air at various times. Could the mold be professionally remediated? That was really a question that I had. And the response that I got was, wishing you the best, suggestion that Dave stay inside with a HEPA filter after having a major surgery. And this, to me, speaks of consideration for neighbors. So I'm bringing that up in terms of the debris that can be on the property, and that has been there for many years. And again, we have our own set of stuff that we're constantly trying to clean up. But, you know, it's been a mess for a long time, so I don't know if there's anything we can do about that. But in adding more to the building, you know, I question how that's going to work. I had a question about the unmarked graves and examination of the ground and whether, that should be done before, building in this area, because I'm just concerned that there are graves elsewhere, which has been brought to your attention before. So that's really all I wanted to say. I'm so sorry that this is the situation. It doesn't feel very good to have it going this way, but how it is. And we don't have a kitchen in another space, and our footprint has shifted, but it's the same, and you're welcome to check that out. Yeah.
Would you like some clarification on a few things?
Not to repudiate
No,
what
I'm
you
just
said
gonna-
about being good neighbors and all that.
No.
That's not,
Just to
in our area of
clarify.
expertise or what we're interested in.
I was going through my documents about the well. That's not exactly accurate, what was stated. I'll leave it at that. If you'd like me to bring the letter from the lawyers and so forth,
No.
then
Understood.
I have that concern too. Water, we all want to have our water. I have no problem if this would settle this, that if we go out 10 feet, not to put windows on the bottom of the mudroom where we enter. Instead of 4 windows, I think it looks better with 4 windows, coming into a mudroom and entrance. I think the design is better, but if that was the thing that, allowed this to happen. The contractor is bringing in a dumpster this week, so most of the debris from a 5-month, construction, and he's been taking stuff out all the time. This was a massive amount of replacement, that's happening hopefully on Saturday. It might take a little longer.
Well, concerning the window issue.
That was another question, for this, the mudroom that you're talking about, is that gonna go to the roof line? What's the height of the,
Yeah, the picture we showed last week would be, that would be a 2-story building, because above the mudroom would be extensions of our current bedroom.
Clarification on that, Warren. We're going from a 2-bedroom home to a 3-bedroom home?
It's a 3-bedroom, I'm sorry. It's a 3-bedroom home.
It is a 3-bedroom.
Yes.
It remains.
We're expanding the 2-bedroom because the 2 bedrooms on that end of the house are small. They are compliant, but they're small.
They're like 8 by 10.
So it's an extension of those 2 to give them more room.
Okay, so we're not technically adding.
The house looks more spacious because the bottom floor had a beam going down the middle of it that was 6 feet 2 inches. I would hit my head on that. And then it was 7 feet. It was kind of depressing. So we took the floor, raised it up to a higher ceiling, and that's where then the rooms on the top raised. The roof line, the top of the roof line did not change. It just, the ends of it changed and went up.
Design of the roof changes, what happened.
Okay. You're saying you're not gonna also still a 2-bedroom, these being large, 2 small bedroom?
Bring our large bedrooms into the addition.
Okay.
And put a mudroom below.
Okay, then combine the 2 bedrooms, it's just a large.
Well, that's the proposal with the
Wait,
addition.
that's what we
It's
like to do.
large 2 bedrooms upstairs. There's 2 bedrooms, and there's 3 bedrooms upstairs, 1 in the front and 2 in the back.
And the church did have a drop ceiling for years, probably for insulation. We took the drop ceiling out just to made it a legitimate loft area.
So everything remains the same septic-wise, and other than the fact that we're moving the septic.
Well, it's there.
Same
There's a new
1,000
septic.
gallon.
I've got the okay today. We're ready to go.
Congratulations.
You forward that to me, right? You're gonna-
Yeah, will they, I'll make sure you get it. I just picked it up on my way here.
Just like,
Okay. All right, I think that was that. And sorry you didn't get notified. Full responsibility.
so that answers your question, Ron?
Yeah, I was unclear about that. I thought we were adding it.
That's gonna be the plan.
Okay. Obviously, there's a lot at stake here. We have, 3 entities in very close proximity, and sometimes I know that, things get a little out of hand in some ways and misguided. I know for myself, when I bought my property, my home in Woodland Valley, the first thing I did was I planted trees along my border with my neighbor 75 feet out, which sufficiently, white pines grow like weeds, and within 10 years, we both ended up with a good deal of privacy. I think that the concern for Shauna in the back might very well be mitigated by, obviously she has the larger yard if this variance were to be granted to, perhaps plant vegetation, and I think also would be prudent for the Bells to put up a privacy fence along this addition in the back here, 6-foot privacy fence in the back here. Just some ideas that we might want to consider. The other one for me is, that we, as the zoning board, obviously have the ability to minimize adverse impacts on neighbors and the community. And I think one that I would certainly be concerned about would be Dave and Dara's issue with the well. And it might be prudent to attach, if this variance were to be passed, to make it conditional that the Bells actually drill their own well. Simply end this era and drill their own well. When we do have the ability to mandate that if we desire. Anybody else?
May I ask a question on that?
One second.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Us building out 10 feet would have nothing to do with what's already there water-wise. We already have a bathroom. It's already built. It's already been through building permits and it's all done. We're not adding a bathroom.
Consumption is based on bedrooms. That's how they do.
Yeah, no, that's actually what I thought we were adding there.
We're not adding a bedroom, we're extending it.
But the fact that it will be there full time adds to the water go off and all this and that. We weren't there before, now you're there.
Yes, but it still has nothing to do with the variance. It has to do with what we already have now. What is there now. It's legal, it's permitted, and so forth. We're not adding anything at that. By doing that, that would encumber the water process as it is now.
How many
So-
bathrooms do you have?
3.
How many did you have before?
3.
You had 1.
No.
Before you started
Before you
started construction, you had 1 bathroom.
They were.
Now there's 3.
Bathroom or bedroom?
Bathroom.
Yeah, there's 2.5.
That's close
Once
enough
a
to
once
3.
a once a pop.
It's
And what about your place? The bathroom that you say doesn't exist? That does? That you showed me? Let's get over this.
I'd like to make a motion. I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing.
May I ask?
I second.
Wait.
I second. Wow.
You can have still have a question. Let's continue. We have a second.
Roll call.
We already have Gary here. Second.
Board Member Johnson? Board Member Reese?
Yes.
Board Member Lodi?
Yes.
Board Member Guglielmi?
Yes.
Do you have a question?
I do. I have actually 2. One is, if the Bells are going to be permitted to build a second 10 feet closer to my property, why should I be penalized by having to put up the trees? Don't you think that?
No, that would not be stipulation on thinking about setting for them you to do. No, that would be up to your discretion.
Well, maybe that should be part of the agreement, that they take responsibility for that. I really fear that my whole front yard is going to become their parking lot. And I would like to have some kind of
You have your property line delineated here, and obviously they can't park any cars on your property.
But they can't have another issue, they can't walk over.
Yeah, but if this has always, Bruce says, if this has always been used as a driveway, then it's, they
Well,
have kids on there too.
Perhaps if you were to plant, you could plant right along your property line, and then that would, eliminate the possibility of people parking there or driving cars through there.
So it sounds like a fence is the appropriate,
Pardon?
it sounds like a fence, a conditional,
Well, a conditional fence on their side is certainly within our ability to dictate. Whether you decide that that would be adequate and let it go at that, or whether you might decide that you wanted to plant. In fact, I was out, we lost about 50 white pines during Superstorm Sandy, and I'm still trying to replenish my border with my other neighbor to kind of give us a little buffer. I mean, it's kind of an ongoing process.
but no, we cannot mandate that you plant trees on your property.
I understand
Because
that.
it's variance.
Yeah.
Okay, but you can mandate that they put up a 6-foot fence or whatever.
Yes.
And I also would like to say, I have no objection to a mudroom, but 10 by 15 is a lot of mudroom.
10 by 18, right?
10 by 20. So well,
Keeps
10
growing.
by 20, 10 by 15
stories.
is what, 2 stories,
you could
that's,
still accommodate the bedrooms too, they go together. It would look very odd to build 10 on one side and all the way across from the top. It's following the same architecture that's already there, just moving it out. Trying to make it look nice and pretty.
yeah, but what about my 25-foot setback? Isn't there,
That's what the variance is about.
That's what the request.
That's why
But-
we're here.
I mean, to reiterate Mr. Bell's point before, he's absolutely correct. He is well within his powers to put up a 8 by 10 or a couple of 8 by 10 storage sheds in his backyard, 10 feet from the property line.
With the building permit, you could build a bigger one. It just has to be a secure building, as long as it fits the footprint of your property.
As long as it's within 10 feet.
And it
Not
would
equal
be
to
15,
10
and it could be
feet.
15 feet tall. So that part, well, I don't know anything about that.
Okay.
It's not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to make something pretty.
So, I'd like to make a motion that we accept the variance and approve the variance with the conditions that a 6-foot privacy fence is built along the back line or somewhere in your backyard.
We have to keep it out of the driveway.
Yeah.
We're ready to do that.
Along the length of at least the addition of the building. The
entire lot.
No, I think just the addition of the building, just the new addition coming into
Well-
that. That is at least, no wait, we're in the middle of this now. So at least at 20 feet, there would be a privacy fence for a minimum of that 20 feet of the addition. And that you also obtain your own well and remove yourself from his well. That's my motion. Need a second? Oh,
Discussion, is 6 feet mandated?
6 feet is the maximum.
Is the maximum, you can't, you're not allowed to go higher.
And not in a residential district within the setbacks.
Not without variance.
All right.
No, we're in the middle of a motion. Go ahead.
I second.
Board Member Johnson? Board Member Reese?
Yes.
Board Member Lodi?
Yes.
Board Member Brunetti?
Yes.
So just be understood, this variance is not going to affect until the fence is built and the well is drilled and you're off of David there as well.
may I ask
Can we ask a
a question?
question?
Does this fence imply that they will need to park their vehicles behind it so that I don't have to look at them?
I'm sorry, there's what?
The building of the fence, does that imply that they will now be required to park their vehicles behind the fence?
I don't, they can't park on your property without your permission, so.
That's why the fence maybe should be longer.
Even though the road has always been there?
The fence is longer. There's no opportunity to turn around. If you look at our property line, there's very little room to park a car except for right next to the church on the driveway side. Everything else has to be parked behind it. There'd be no possibility you'd be doing masterful parallel parking or something of that nature. it would be dangerous to the cars.
Who gets it from Manhattan?
I'm a really good parallel parker. My wife is.
But,
Okay.
but that doesn't, that's a good reason for them not to get the variance. Because
we've
then
already
I
got it,
get, my front yard is now a parking lot.
No.
My backyard's a parking lot.
It's your cars.
It's your car. Shut up. Oh, it's somebody just.
Okay, so, do we have anything else on the agenda?
Yes, the Staples.
There you are. Ooh.
I've been here a while.
Did you forget what you're here for? It's been so long.
I was taking a little nap. I'm here on behalf of my son. My son and I own property across the street where I live in the Indian. The address is 8222 Route 28. He presently has a mobile home there, and his mobile home needs a lot of repair, and he would like to take the mobile home out and put in modular. And the difference in the size is mobile home is 20 by 60, the mobile home would be 24 by 48. And all he's asking for is a 2% increase in the coverage.
I'm sorry, I was correct. I was incorrect on the capital. That's why we're trying to increase is 20%.
Please.
Hey,
Okay.
We're generating a new application for this so that it will clarify what the applicant is going for. In other words, it's the current coverage, the proposed coverage, what the allowed coverage would be, and then, because you're going to have a variance for percentage of coverage.
Okay.
In addition to setback variances, we also clarify what the proposed setbacks are, what the required setbacks are, and then what the variance will be. So we're streamlining it to make it easier to understand the interpretation. If you just look at the application now, okay, it says it's in an R1.5 zoning district. You have to have memorized the required setbacks.
You're saying you're writing these applications?
Rewriting those applications.
Great.
There's one that we did, if you want to pass it back to.
Or I can explain, if you'd like, I can explain all the setbacks and everything, just to clarify up
All right, I
front.
appreciate that.
Okay. The lot is 0.22 acres, so the maximum structure coverage allowed would be 958 square feet. The current building occupies 1,048 square feet. The proposed new structure will occupy 1,152 square feet, which would be an increase of 20%. Proposed setbacks are front 10, rear 110, side 4, and side 35. Required in the R1.5, front 50, rear 50, side 25, 25. So the requested area variances, the front, they would be requesting a 40-foot variance. The rear 0. The one side 21-foot variance, and the other side is 0-foot variance. The reason is because of the constraints on the lot being considerably undersized, non-conforming, 0.22 acres.
And exactly where is it?
Big Indian on Route 28,
Is this the old neighborhood?
you know, Casco out back, Craig Apollo.
Oh, yeah.
It's just before him on the right, because the mobile home is there.
Oh, yes, it's up on the hill a little bit.
No, it's on the right.
On the right side going on.
Going west.
Yeah.
Chapter
No, before.
just before Jeff.
Okay.
Okay.
Big turn.
Towards the firehouse, yeah.
It's
Just
before the
before the
firehouse.
firehouse, yes.
Is it border on Chuck, or is it a sinister property in between?
There's, well, Chuck's property, you're talking his service station,
No, his home, but the residence.
his home, which is, you've got the fire station, knowledge property.
No.
It's on the big turn, 28.
Yeah, it's on the big turn there, on the right.
What is the property on the Wardfoot side? What's the neighbor?
That was, that vacant right now?
Is that even
The property east of,
That would be Sue Ludford owns a piece on the other side.
Is there a structure, is there a residence?
No, there's nothing there.
So it's empty land or?
Yeah, it's just empty. Just a little piece there that she owns.
Basically, the structure that's there now, he's putting it back in the same location. So this is the variances that should have been granted. The structure's been there longer than required, and then the property was, I got the story where the property used to be larger, but somebody created a lot line revision and made it even less conforming than it is now. So it's very, very tiny, and to try to fit anything on there, even if we drew the lines, you couldn't fit it in the dead center of the property, you couldn't fit it.
Well, it sounds like we just set it in motion, and they will be notified, and maybe there's no objection at all.
It's not really a large increase.
Yeah, and this seems that would be rather simple after the last one.
Are the neighbors, no, the neighbors haven't come yet.
The 2%, where I misspoke was the 2% is the increase in what they already have. They only want to increase their coverage by 2%. But the actual variance, if you look at the square footage of the property, what he could be allowed, he'd be a 20% variance. But he's only increasing the footprint by 2%. Compared to what's already there. And that's not taken into account. You know, we only took account of the habitable space. When you took in the decks and everything that's attached on to the existing structure, he's actually making it smaller.
And he's improving the property, he's using the same stuff with the same walls, so there's really no.
Improve the property, he's going to reduce his energy bill, which, you know, good for everybody.
So the neighbor on the west side, is there a neighbor on the west side?
No, not really. I think that
Clark.
Donnie Clark owns a little teeny piece.
We just surrounded by wood.